Hey there. Today we're going to have a look. Sorry, I thought my microphone had fallen off, but it had not. This pen. It's made by Inventery, and I got three very, I would say very, why can I not think of the word? Very generous of Inventery. Now, a couple cool things about these pens. I've reviewed this pen quite a couple of years ago, and this pen is the 2.0 version of that pen. So Inventery has re-released their pocket pen. I think it's very neat, and I ended up selling mine, and it's one of those, so I kind of regretted it a little bit because it is very cool. So what makes it 2.0? The pen to me largely looks very, very similar to what it looked like before, but there are a couple of improvements. I'll try to address those when I point the camera down so you can actually see them. It's not very interesting to talk about that. It's a neat pen because it's a pocket pen. I know it doesn't look like a pocket pen, but there's an extender in the center that you can take out, and then it becomes a true pocket pen. I'll show you all this when I tilt the camera down. And it comes with a rollerball tip as well, so you can use it both as a fountain pen and as a rollerball. Three finishes: stainless steel, there is a brass, and there is an onyx, which is an aluminum with a Cerakote coating. Sorry, pretty cool. They sent me all three, one of each finish. Again, that's very generous. I'm going to cover the parts of the pen, writing sample, tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. Let's get started. Hit me, Mike. All right, well, Inventery very nicely sent me three of these pens. Let's look at them. So when you open the box, this is what you get. This is the brass pen. I just put them in. They all write very nicely, same writing experience. You get a converter. You get a, just pop that out off camera, sorry. You get a rollerball tip. And then you get the pen. This is the brass, quite nice. Then there is an onyx aluminum with a Cerakote coating, much lighter, feels much lighter than the brass, as you would expect from aluminum, because it's aluminum. And then the final box is empty. You get a cartridge in the pen. This one happens to be black. And here's the rollerball tip, and then here is the pen. Now I thought I would just show you this one, but they all work the same way. And I think there is a lot of cool stuff going on with these pens. So let me just show you one right next to a Pilot Metropolitan. It's a tiny bit shorter and it's a little less girthy, but there we go. As I said, I've reviewed these pens in the past, but some things have changed a bit in the 2.0 model. First of all, they're now made in the US. It says so on the website, so I'm assuming that initially they were not, but I'm not 100% sure. Now they're made in the US. The biggest changes I have noticed is that I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to use a little probe here. Note this little ball in the clip. That I'm pretty sure didn't used to be there. So the clip was just straight, didn't actually touch the cap. And I wonder if they've done this to make putting it in a pen case or in a pocket a little bit more secure, because it was very loose. And I thought that was kind of cool because it looked really neat. I'm not saying I dislike that ball. I do think it's definitely more secure, but it's an interesting change. And the other change I've noticed is that I'm pretty sure initially the top was just straight. It may have had a sort of a bevel already, but it certainly does now, and it has the Inventery eye on the finial, which I'm pretty sure the old ones did not. And I haven't checked it, but like I said, I have reviewed the pen before. You could go back and verify that I'm not insane. Okay, what makes this pen so interesting? What makes it interesting to me is the two writing modes. There's the rollerball and then there is the fountain pen. Both work well. But what I find really neat about it is this centerpiece that comes out. So let me just cover the parts of the pen, and then as we go through it, I'll show you how that works. So I've already shown you on top the Inventery finial. Doesn't matter which way you hold it because it's identical both ways up. We have the clip. The clip is nice, tight, but not too tight. Nothing else on the cap. What I do really like, and it's hard to show you, I think, yeah, oh, that really showed up really well. On the inside of the clip, it says Inventory, and here it says number 844. I think it's neat that they number them, and it's cool that it's there. I know that a lot of people don't like blind engravings on caps or barrels or whatever, so it looks very clean to have it there, but not immediately visible. Okay, then we have this extender part, and then we have the barrel, and the barrel at the end has threads. So why are the threads there? Well, you can unscrew the cap, and obviously, I mean, I'm assuming that's obvious, but maybe it's not. You can screw that back, the cap on the end of the pen. Note that in this case, the clip and the nib don't align. Maybe it's possible to make it work, but it's just some people find that very upsetting. I don't really care because it doesn't poke your hand, so I don't mind. Now you have a full-size pen with very secure posting. And if you don't like to post, well, then you don't have to. You can use it unposted. For me, it's definitely big enough to use unposted. The nib is a number 5 Schmid nib. It says Schmid and iridium point, and that's pretty much all there's to it. Here's where things get interesting. So we have the section, tapers down a bit, all that stuff. You can see a bit of nib color there, all those kinds of things. But here's where things get very interesting, because you can unscrew the section, comes out with a converter, K5 Schmidt supplied, nice. Now you have the barrel end. This is where you would post the cap. And you have this part, and this part comes out. It's an extender. You can just unscrew this, put that away. Now you can put everything back together. Not when you're using this pen with the converter. So I have to take the converter out for just a second. If you use standard international short cartridges or a very small converter like that Kaweco squeeze, those kinds of things, you can still use a converter. Otherwise, it's cartridge time. Okay, now I'm going to put the barrel back, screwed onto the section. And now you have a pocket pen, which I cannot use unposted. But the neat thing is you can post the cap, remember? Because those threads remain on the barrel. So now you have a full-size pen. Note how now clip and nib actually align. Pocket pen. So I love that for when I'm traveling, for example. Bring a small pen, take a cartridge if you're flying, worried about air bubbles, compression, air, all kinds of things, pens leaking. Take an unopened cartridge, put it in at the end of your trip, throw it out, whether it's empty or not, no problem. Carry your pen home. And then it's smaller, easier, fits in a pocket, that kind of stuff. So I really like that design. Now, I'm going to do a writing sample with the fountain pen only, if you don't mind, because I don't want to keep you here all day. I will try at some point to do a bit of writing with the rollerball tip on my Instagram account, so keep an eye on that if you really want to see it. I'm pretty sure I have done the rollerball in the original review. They work very well. I wonder if Schmidt makes those too, but in any case, I've used those kinds of things in the past. They work very well. It's just a rollable, and it's nice too. So let's look at what we have. Writing sample. Here we have the Inventery pocket pen with the extender. This is a fine nib. It's marked, yes, fine. And this is Edelstein Star Ruby Red. I don't know what I did there, but quick. I'm assuming that the camera mic may pick this up and may make it sound scratchy. It's not scratchy, but there is feedback. But it's the kind of feedback that I really like, that kind of lets you know that you're using a fountain pen. pretty good. And what I like about it, especially for a relatively fine nib, is that it's pretty wet. So a nice flow. I really like that. Line variation. Well, it's a round nib. As always, very careful. But if you really have to, you can add a bit of character to your handwriting. Bear in mind though, it's not a flex nib. It's not advertised as such, not labeled as such. So it's at your own risk. Those of you who enjoy such a thing can flip it over. Oops. As you may have just seen, that got a little sharp, cut into the paper. But you can get away with some words, I would say, if you really need a very fine line. Now, this is cheating a bit. I'm just taking out the converter entirely. Take out the extender, screw everything back in place. Just to give you an idea, now you have the pen in pocket mode, right? Obviously, it doesn't have a converter in it. I can't write for an enormous amount of time. Works very nicely too. Would need a cartridge, as I said. A little less top heavy, especially when you have when you use that threaded posting. So I'm just assembling this again just to show you. When you use that threaded posting of the cap, then it can get a little top heavy because there's all the metal there, especially in the brass pen. The aluminum is very light, so you notice it less there. With the stainless steel, you also kind of feel it a bit. So there you have it. I think these are very cool pens. This weird stain, just so you know, it's just ink. I was fiddling on the other side of this page. I feel the need to explain that because you don't know what that is. Cool pens. Let's talk about likes and dislikes. What do I like and what do I not like about the Inventery fountain pen? There are a couple of things I really like. Straight off the bat, it's a minimalist pen. That's not for everyone. It's a steel nib, that's not for everyone. That's fine. The minimalist pens have grown on me a bit if they're done well. And I think this is done very well. The tolerances everywhere are very tight. Everything looks great. What I really like about it though is the modular system. I liked it when I reviewed it for the first time. I like it now. It's not cheap. That really is my one negative, might be too strong a comment because it's very personal, but it's not a cheap pen, right? 189 US for the extender and 140 for the pen without an extender US. It's not cheap. Steel nib, it's not cheap. But when you think about what you get for it, two writing modes, fountain pen and rollerball. If you get the pen with the extender, you get a pocket pen and you get a normal size pen. What I really like about the pocket pen is using it on trips. When you go out somewhere, you feel like you would like to take a pen, take out the extender, you have a small pen. I'm doing this as we speak. What you see is what you get with this B.R.E. Brown. You cannot use the converter anymore, so I have to take that out. This may not have been the greatest idea I've ever had. I put all that back together. Now you have a pocket pen, and it's too small for me to use unposted, but once posted, very comfortable, works very well. And in fact, then nib and clip also align. Lovely. Go on a trip, carry something small, no problem. But if you do want to have something of normal size, you can just use that extender, no problem with that either. Screwing like crazy here. There we go. And now you have a full-size pen, which you can post again, and then you have really something that is a very nice size, I would say. And that's perfectly fine too. So for everyday writing, if you're at work, whatever, you don't have a particular need for a smaller pen, you can use that, and it works perfectly as well. So no shortage of different options, because then on top of that, you have the choice of fountain pen or rollerball that takes fountain pen ink. I have a bit of a soft spot for rollerballs that take fountain pen ink. I find that after a while the ball gets a little bit less smooth, but especially when you start off, brand new tip, works really well, and I think it's really fun. I don't know why, I just think it's really fun. I don't use rollerballs any other time really, but I like that. So I know it's not cheap, but you also get, in my mind, quite a lot. No, it's not a gold nib. No, it's not a fancy special material, but it's well made and it gives you a lot of writing options. Different configurations, literal writing options, rollerball, fountain pen, and I think that's worth something. So I think they're very cool pens. I also like that you can pick the finish that suits you best. I know there is this community that loves the all black pens. Well, then you get the aluminum version, which is super light. Very nice. You want something a bit flashier, shinier, get the brass. The brass, no problem at all. Shinier, or just get the stainless steel, which looks kind of like a medical implement, which you can use for various things. Yeah. So cool. I really like it. I think it's very neat. A very kind thank you to Inventery for sending me this. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye.